everyone. Thanks again for coming out to our event. I just want to tell you a little bit more about Memento, which is the new name of our performance ensemble this year. What we do is we wanted to have another aspect, basically, of the personal narrative. There's a lot to be said of the narrative on the page in a magazine that you can take home and read, and there's another aspect to the performance of such narratives by the people who write them and by the people whose lives they are about. And so I'm really excited to introduce all the members of the performance ensemble. You can go ahead and head up here now. So my name is Jessica Koval. We also have Chi Lei, Nate Todd, and Neil Jockman. And we're going to start us out tonight with our group piece, which is called A Desire to Become.
I barely remember the summer we were on vacation, and I learned the biggest news that opened cascades of self-fulfilling prophecies. The news that communicated complete circles and illustrious meanderings of the future. My hard work paid off. I was admitted to the best high school, to be among the best minds, and to find my best version of self. I was a happy 15-something, roaming inside some iridescent bubble, bladed by both familiar and selfish love. More than anything else, that summer accommodated the romantically inflated association of lazy spumes and languid sunrise with blissful contentment in life. But you see, I can only tell you the meaning of my experience. I know the facts and their significance, yet the fragments of my being at those specific moments are entirely unretrieved. Thinking about summer, a part of me wants to be cynical. Nothing in this season can last longer than an ordinary leaf of paper. I wonder if it's the wintry cold that erodes my sense of time until the most mundane moment has been fully recorded. I remember I am shivering in the fleecy jacket along the hallway between classes, sharing with my best friends the smallest of talk that just comforted us against our numbing limbs. I remember I smelled the grilled corns that was so exceptionally cheap by peddlers, distrusted by my mother for health concerns. I remember and miss the food that must be cooked before being eaten, whose distinctive smell slithers in the form of gas and charcoal smoke. Hanoi's winter is Chicago's fall. Hanoi is a home that is a home and not a home to that something else. It is a home that doesn't intimidate me or challenge me or put me in discomfort. I will look to my dad and to my mom, and we were three resting bodies that compose one fusion of warmness. One day, my father bought me a rubber mouse in a plastic cupboard because he somehow thought it a delightfully stylized edible cake. My mother had a hearty laugh out of it. I cried happy tears and wrote a pseudo-poem because I never wanted to forget how it felt. I could cry happy tears and write another pseudo-poem and admit it now. It is true that I never forget a moment that belongs to winter. Winter is every meaningful resonance within my being. Then another winter arrived and I fell prey to depression. My world was discordant, each element frail like a drop of rain. I woke up bundled in artificial warmth so that when I cried, my tears would dissolve in milliseconds by the friction of my skin against the lumpy polyester sheets. Each day started with false hopes and tumbling dreams about new beginnings, as though dawn could be synthesized from vacancy, like the sun were birthed by darkness himself. I came awake from a dream within a dream within a dream, clearing one corner to be chased down into the next. I woke up into a corrupted reality with a sigh of relief that the coldness of the mind was only a hovering shadowy crawl that couldn't regenerate as I fell asleep the following night. Winter was unfading in the least magical sense of the word, and as I mumbled through pains and resilience, I realized winter is never meant to be beautiful. Winter never supports the theory of coldness spawning its opposite among us helpless humans. It never purposefully paints the streets like early black canvas with strokes of silky yellow light. It's never meant to erode the pseudo-poem which I wrote for the person who loves me wholeheartedly. Winter just registered everything deeply and crystal clearly. There would never be a tinge of romanticism remotely attached to the belonging of winter. I am the creator and the savior of all those memories, whether good or bad, which last forever.
To see spring again always has the feeling of awakening. It comes suddenly and seems unreal, at least in its first moments. After the interminable dream of winter, you awaken, suddenly, to sunshine, color, and birdsong. Winter, like a dream, is colorless and shapeless, better forgotten. It was once so intensely felt, but upon awakening it suddenly feels as though it never happened. But spring never lasts. Spring is an in-between season. When the cherry blossoms bloom, already they begin falling. We awaken to spring, we witness the gorgeous beauty of its dawn, only to watch it subside as the sun rises into the routine of the day, summer. After all, spring is beautiful, and beautiful things fade. And the more beautiful they are, the more dramatic they're fading. Fall, winter, and summer are seasons of infatuation, passing flings, but spring is love itself. Spring is her tossing her head back, running her fingers through her thick locks. Spring is the gentle crease that appears at the edge of her eyes, her neck, her shoulders. Spring is a day, not a week or a year, a day, or rather a moment, that ends as soon as it begins, existing thereafter only in the faintest trace of pink still left after the fruits come to bear, after the blossoming has left its impression, newness forever lost in memory.
In the dark, Mom comments on longer days, on how she prefers them. Fortunate for her, their broad blossoms are annuals, so she never gets to stay sad. I've learned being on my own that the seasonal affective disorder is not a winter-specific thing. It has to do with anything regular, having to do with the years, the seasons. If you want more technical talk, see a doctor. In the summer, my mother's diagnoses are not technical at all. When I was young, she wanted me to cut my hair so I wouldn't be so irritable. Fair enough. In the summer, I would be cooler with a buzz. I've not yet done it. This is because I fear looking like someone I'm not used to. This could be a big problem, having my idea of myself tied to what I look like. Singing, hey, I don't look like that anymore. I've changed. Haven't I progressed? This, folks, is the essence of summertime. Haven't I progressed? Where's the progress? There have been summer vacations, during which I've worked the same jobs as summers before. Amid the routine, I catch glimpses of ghosts, persistent heartaches reflecting on last year, even the year before that. These are scary breaks. When they happen, you think you've begun dying. You've been taught in physics class about the parabolic curves of falling things. When you were little, you watched Toy Story, and you were told that flight is just falling with style. And then, as if to cement all of the apprehensions you had regarding this little rethink, you were told in high school to take flight and let your passions fly. Or somebody told you something that made just as little sense and sounded just as painful, sour to say, cliche after cliche. But thrown things fall. Unfortunately, this fact comes as news to the ears of some little one who has thrown himself out there. And it certainly felt, by the onset of each fall, that her rejections were as brutal and sure as a textbook law of physics.
Resolutions are fickle things. We pretend they have to wait for New Year's when our aspirations fly high like confetti caught on ceiling fans, never to descend. But in the early months, resolve begins to wane, like it was nothing but a phase that we've now passed as we move on to more important things. Like that extra piece of cake, or those 3 more cups of coffee now serving as a stand-in for the rest we really needed, trading sleep for 1 more essay on a book we didn't read, or 1 more Facebook tour while laundry sits unclean beneath the piles of other things we haven't gotten to. I scoff at my priorities. Resolutions catch in gusts of wind, damp with melted snow, no longer charming now that Christmas is a mistletoe descended from its throne above the door, quickly coming to a close, no longer open to the seemingly impossible. Autumn and its gentle breeze bring me these idle musings, while nostalgic scents and memories paint the air with comfort and a subtle kind of energy. I'm reminded that the seasons of our lives, however singular or desperate, are but temporary circumstances waiting for successors to relieve them. There is hope in new becomings and old endings. the fall of history's greatest kings, including man himself, according to some teachings, has been marked by new discoveries that swiftly called forth change and made the old way obsolete. Every tragic transformation is a drastic call to action when the very thing we yearn for is consistency, to bathe and rest assured in the familiar. The willingness to change is like a stranger, but the walls that we create to keep it out are only hurtful to ourselves. So, when the leaves begin to fall, and litter converse-trodden sidewalks with their sudden burst of color, just discovered when their time was finally up, that's when I think it's time that I changed everything. When the leaves begin to fall, I'm reminded of the piles that turned to tunnels in my childhood backyard just below the maple, transforming with two quickly growing girls and their wild imagination a desire to become. And when the leaves begin to fall, I know the lightning bugs of summer have retired and will wait another year to return their fickle glow, because I know the heat is over. Autumn's colors give me vibrancy. They fill me with a joy I can't describe as I drink in this dying life and think of every time I've watched this sleep creep over. Undertaker of the summer, overtaking every sense and breath and motion. This death, however sweeping, offers me a second chance to be reborn again if I would just commit myself to momentary slumber. So, I graciously accept this envied beauty sleep and slowly feel the reds as they come creeping into tan yet pallid cheeks. And as I catch my own reflection, I see glitter line my eyes from all the golds that fall has wrought. And in the mines of life itself, I find my purpose. Now, I'm clinging to this hope, though I betray an idle fear, half believing that this feeling that so grips me may be beautiful, but ultimately fleeting. When the cold comes, when all the leaves have fallen, maybe I will too, with all of my ambitions. But the leaves begin to fall, and I rediscover my resilience and my strength. Although I'm sometimes optimistic to a fault, I believe there's hope in change. Even if it means that you take everything you've grown and strip it bare, the leaves seem so much greener on the other side. Spring will come again, when you and I are finished watching everything fall down so we can build again, and maybe build it better now, with wisdom winter taught us. When the leaves fall, I am finished to begin again. Thank you.